Good afternoon, Dr. Campbell.
Good afternoon.
I'm glad to continue with you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask you about the eyes, because I'm so curious. I hear so many things. I read about it and I had wonderful conversations where you so generously shared the knowledge and the wisdom that you gained about the eyes that are the window to the soul, it's said in some cultures. So what is it about the eyes?
Well, where do we start? Well, let's start with some children that come to me. They're like 12 years old, and they've been wearing glasses since they're 4 or 7 years old. And they wonder why their eyes get worse and worse every year instead of better and better. So in my opinion, this was recognized by Dr. William Bates, who came up with the eye exercises back in 1905, I think it was, ophthalmologist. And your eye has a lens, just like your glasses. It's a lens. It's round, or oval actually, and it has muscles around it. These, and they pull the lens. And when you look at something close, the muscle constricts, bends the lens into a concave thing, and now you have acuity. You can see things close. Now, when you look at things far, the muscles relax, and the lens flattens out, and you can see at a distance. Now, you get a kid that doesn't like vegetables, not enough vitamin A, so I had trouble working his eyes, so let's just give him glasses and they see better, but that's not the real problem. But they give him glasses, so they put glasses on a 7-year-old. So what does that do? It takes the load off the lens. The muscles don't constrict as much because the glasses are doing the work of the lens. Now, if you're 7 years old going through a growth pattern, a metaphor for this would be, suppose we put her arm in a cast for 7 years. Don't move the arm. What's going to happen to the arm when she turns 15? What's it going to look like? Well, I think the same thing happens to the eye. Of course, you have some ophthalmologists telling me I'm crazy, but I see it in the office almost every week. Not every week, every month. So, every time you constrict the lens, you strengthen the muscle. And you encourage the lens to regenerate. Supposedly, I saw some research that the very top of that lens has all the mitochondria. There's no blood supply to that sucker. It lives off the aqueous humor, the fluid. We'll get to that later. But if you do not work out that lens, especially as you're going through a growth factor, and you don't exercise it, this kid gets up in the morning at 7 years old, puts the glasses on, doesn't take them off till she goes to sleep, is ludicrous, in my opinion. All right? Worse, contacts. All right, now why is contact so bad, All right, so every time I get somebody with contacts with years, they've got trouble with their cornea. Cornea is the front of the eye where the contacts go on. The cornea is 5 layers thick. It has no blood supply. Nada. It lives on your tear film. What is your tear film? Your tears here from your tear ducts, and these little oil glands that are right between your eyelashes. All right? This oil mixes with your tears to create a tear film. It diffuses through the cornea, hits the 5th layer with all the mitochondria, and it literally eats that tear film. That's what the cornea lives on. What do you think is going to happen if you cover the cornea from the tear film? 1 to 2/3 of the cornea is covered with a contact. You're starving that part of the cornea. Ludicrous, in my opinion. Ludicrous. I don't care how they breathe or what they breathe. They have some that let oxygen through, but it's not letting the nutrients through. To me, it makes no sense. So what happens is, when they start out, the cornea looks like a nice round basketball, And by the time they're done in 5-10 years, it starts looking like a football because it's weaker and it protrudes out more. Now you've got stenosis and they see 2 images, and now you need real special contacts and lenses. You can't make this shit up. All right. Wearing the glasses. No. Kid has to read. You're at school, you're reading, put the glasses on. After school, you're not reading, take glasses off. Do not wear them home. Do not get bifocals. All right, we see blah blah. Now you really stagnate the whole eye. In my opinion, the eye will not grow properly. The glasses will get thicker and thicker, or need more and more correction as the child gets older. I had one girl, she was 11 years old. Glasses were very thick. And she came in crying because her vision got so bad. She loved to play tennis. She couldn't see the tennis ball anymore. So her mother says she never eats any vegetables. Well, if you don't eat vegetables, you're not getting any vitamin A. If you don't get vitamin A, the retina is named after retinol. Retinol is vitamin A. The highest concentration of vitamin A is used by your retina. You don't eat it, you're going to suffer. Then you wear glasses, which is another thing. Now, the other part of this problem with wearing glasses and not moving the lens. The lens is almost right against the back of the retina, which is coated with this egg white called the vitreous humor. And in back of that is this like tile made out of Mueller cells, and their duty, as defined, is to transport nutrients. Where does it get the nutrients? From the vitreous humor. Where does the vitreous humor get the nutrients? It gets it from the aqueous humor. Where does the aqueous humor get the nutrients? From the cornea. So this tear film gets digested. It feeds the cornea. Excess is released in the aqueous humor. The lens blows this aqueous humor against the vitreous humor to nourish the outside of the retina. My opinion. So, go ahead and wear contacts. Wear your glasses. Do not move. You know, if you don't move that lens, you don't circulate that aqueous humor. So the front of your eye is the cornea. You have a space. You have the iris. You have a space. You have the lens, you have a little space, and you have the back wall of the retina with this jelly, this white, egg white-like on it called the vitreous humor. This fluid is kept in motion by that lens, in my opinion. All right? And it moves this fluid. If the fluid does not move properly, you cannot nourish the eye product. The lens is nourished by this. Every time you bend the lens, you encourage it to regenerate. A metaphor for that would be like your bones. All right, your bones, they have a little wire in them, a copper wire with apostite on one end and some collagen on the other. And this combination, some way, when I stand up at 80 years old, I stand up and sit down. I put stress on the bone. It stretches this copper milieu, if you will, and generates an electrical current, an electrical field. So what happens when you have that electrical field? The osteoblasts sense it, and they start laying down new bone. If you send a man in space and there's no load, it's weightless, they come back with osteopenia. It takes them 5 to 7 years to get their bones back. Now, I think they've corrected that with some kind of exercises up there, but I'm not sure. The same thing, I think, goes for the lens. If you don't use it, it won't regenerate right. It won't grow right. You've got to use it. Wearing glasses when you get up and take them off at the end of the day is a good way to go blind by the time you're 40 or 50. In my opinion. My opinion.